Thank you for joining me today. My name is Anna, and today's class is about scapular stability. So we are going to be looking at our ability to stabilize our scapula, also known as the shoulder blades, on our back ribs, and then be able to recreate that in a variety of different shapes and movements. And so for this, I really love the analogy of a coaster sitting on a coffee table. Now, if that coaster has a little bit of water underneath it, there's sort of this suction cupping that happens of the coaster to that table, and you're still able to kind of slide and glide it, but it would be difficult to pick that coaster up off the table. And we're really looking for the same thing with our scapula on our back ribs, that we want them firmly held and sort of suction cupped onto those back ribs, but instead of that just being like a static hold, we want this sliding and gliding and this free movement of the scapula on the back ribs. So if you have a block, go ahead and grab it, and we are going to get started off on our backs. So if you have your block here, we're going to take it in between your thighs, setting up for a bridge, but we won't come into it quite yet. Just take a moment to settle with your knees bent, your feet on the floor, and just start to bring a little bit of awareness into your scapula on your back, the right side and the left side. And so this is an area that it can be a little bit easy to forget about because it's on our back. We're not really seeing it as much. And so just taking your awareness into that area and just notice what you feel there. If one side is maybe lifted up a little bit, or if you feel one side heavier on the floor. It's not good or bad, but it's just information to start to become aware of. And then you can begin to make your breath a little bit bigger. And then imagine that you could even start to redirect your breath up into the back of your lungs. Now keep that breath going. We're going to lift up into a bridge, so let your back ribs be heavy on the floor so you feel the front ribs holding down. Keep that action as you drive the glutes up, just for a low bridge here. Now reach your arms up toward the ceiling with the palms facing in towards each other. Make fists here, and then starting on the left side, we're going to punch up. So reach those left knuckles up toward the ceiling, and imagine that you are doing that from your left shoulder blade. And then bring it back down. Punch up with the right knuckles. Feel like you're reaching from that right shoulder blade. And let's keep going there. It's alternating back and forth. And if you would like a little bit more tactile feedback, it can be really helpful here. With the arm that's not punching up, you can reach around and just hold like underneath the armpit, kind of wrapping back toward the shoulder blade, and just really feel that activation here underneath the hand. Let's do a couple more. Holding the front ribs in as you punch the fists up. And now we'll just bring the arms back to neutral. Feel your scapula on the floor here. The chest is spacious. And then open the palms and flip them up toward the ceiling like you're holding a tray. Right hand comes to the left fingers and pull back for a wrist stretch. And as you do that, you can lift and spread your toes there. Let's give a little check-in back to the glutes. And then switch hands. Left hand pulls the right fingers back. And then you can set the toes back down. Take one more big breath there. Just filling up along the whole back of your body. And then bring your hands onto your thighs with your arms straight, and we're just going to really slowly lower down one vertebra at a time until your sacrum is the last thing to come down. Now let's take your block, slide it up so it's in between your knee joints. Interlace your hands behind your head, cup your skull, hug your elbows in. Take an inhale breath here. Exhale, lift up off the scapula. So holding the front ribs down, kick your left leg straight out from the knee joint. And then set that left foot down. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift up. Right leg reaches straight out from the knee joint. Hold the front ribs down and hold your sacrum steady. Right foot lowers and inhale to lower. Exhale, lift up. Left leg reaches. Now right arm reaches in line with that right knee. Make a fist just like we did before. Punch up through the knuckles and see if you can't get up a little bit higher off that right scapula. Hand behind your head, foot comes down. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift up. Right leg reaches. Punch through that left arm in line with that left knee. Reach more through the knuckles. See if you can get up a little bit higher off that left scapula. Hand behind the head, foot down. Inhale to lower. Let's add on here. Exhale, lift up. Left leg reaches. Right arm reaches in line with that right knee. Make a fist. Punch the knuckles. Stay up off the scapula. And then turn a little bit to the left so that right arm comes toward the outside of the left leg. And then reach, 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 reach. Hand behind your head. Foot comes down. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift. Right leg reaches straight out from the knee joint. Reach the left arm in line with that left knee. Make a fist. Punch up. And then going up and over without lowering that right scapula. Left arm is in line with that outer right thigh. Reach, reach, reach as you hold that front body down to the floor. Ooh. Hand behind your head. Foot comes down and release. Amazing. Okay. So we are going to come into a little bit of a chest opener here. So if you have two blocks, I really like to use two here, but you don't necessarily need it. So we're going to roll over onto the right side. You would take your block on its highest setting in line with your right hip, so your left knee comes on top of the block. And then I like to have another block behind my head. So you can stack your hands here, left on top of right. And then we're going to take this left arm, sweep it back across your body to start to open to the left. And then we just reverse that and stack the hands. So back and forth here. And what I want you to start to feel is that as this left arm goes back, it's not flopping down toward the floor, but really think about reaching out more than down. And feel how that left scapula almost suction cups or plugs onto those back ribs to support that opening in the chest. So it's almost like this little buttress of support that we're getting from the back of the shoulder. All right, and switch sides. Rolling onto your left hip. Right knee can come onto that highest setting of the block. Hands are stacked. And then we sweep this right arm back and open. And again, think about reaching more out than down. And just feeling that plugging in or pulling in of that right shoulder into your back ribs. Giving you that support and that structure to open the chest. And using your breath there. Right, and then when you're ready, let's come around into a quadruped on your hands and knees. And starting off here, we want the shoulders right over the wrists and the hips directly over the knees, maybe even bringing the knees a little bit closer in than you think. Sometimes it's nice to be a little bit more compact. It's easier to stabilize in the center. Now feel your shoulder blades on your back here. And we're going to hold the front ribs in, keep the arms nice and straight and strong, and then soften the chest toward the floor a little bit so you feel like your shoulder blades like really come to sit on those back ribs. And so it's not a collapse, but a softening of the chest with straight arms. And then just come back up to neutral here. So we're not overly rounding in the shoulder blades, but you want to feel them just like sitting like those little coasters on that coffee table. And then soften the chest, keep the arms straight, hold the ribs in, and back to neutral. Let's do that a couple more times. So this one can be really nice just to start to get some movement and some freedom in this area. Watching your neck, that your chin isn't jutting forward, but we're almost lifting the ears up toward the ceiling. And now come back to your neutral. We're gonna hold it there so you feel a little bit there of that suction cupping of the shoulder blades on the back ribs. The front ribs are holding up so that the scapula have something to sit on. Now take your right arm out into a goalpost. You can make a fist there. Take your left leg, stretch it straight back here, and activate that left glute. So now feel that left shoulder blade really holding firm on your back ribs. Keep that feeling as you start to rotate just a little bit to the right. Good. So it's like you're turning from the center of your chest, you're working that left glute, that left shoulder blade is holding on the back ribs, and so is the right one. Right? They're just doing different actions here. And then right hand comes down, left knee comes back down. Amazing. So let's do left arm out in a goalpost to the left here. Right leg reaches back, work that right glute. Now really firm, hold that right shoulder blade on your back ribs. And then start to turn just a little bit from the sternum to the left, but keep securing that right scapula on the back ribs. And we're holding that left one on the back ribs as well. Whew. It's a small movement, but you can really feel the potency of it here. And then left hand and right knee come back down. So let's lower down onto our forearms. We're eventually going to come into a dolphin. So if you like to interlace your hands, you are more than welcome to do that here, or you can have the forearms parallel. But now we're going to do the opposite move that we just did in the shoulder blades. So we're going to start with them sitting in neutral on the back, and then push the floor away, and you're pulling the scapula away from each other. So there's more of that rounding. And then come back to neutral. Push the floor away and pull them apart from each other. And so you can really feel the difference in just having the shoulders maybe rounded versus really pushing into the floor and creating that actively. Nice. So last one here. We're gonna hold it here and then lift into your dolphin. So tuck your toes, pike your hips up toward the ceiling without shifting the weight back out of your arms. So push the floor away, keep that weight in the shoulders. They're here to support you. You can release your head there, and let's just rock on the toes. Just up and down. And again, see if you can use that breath to almost lift you up a little bit more. One more breath. And then we'll lower the knees. If it would feel nice, you can take a little child's pose here. Give those shoulders a little break. And then when you are ready, you're gonna come up to stand at the top of the mat. We're gonna start off with one round of a sun salutation 1 here. So take an inhale, bring your arms forward and up, and then really reach up through the fingertips without letting the ribs thrust forward. As you exhale, you can hinge at the hips, plant the hands, step the right foot back, lower the knee in the top of the foot. Inhale, arms reach up. So wrap that right glute down and then reach up from the sides of the waist. That's it. Feel that sliding of the scapula. Plant your hands, step back into a plank. Hold it here, and then again, feel that openness across the chest. We're not overly rounding in the shoulder blades, but we're holding them neutral and steady on the back ribs. Now, without shifting the weight out of the arms, pike the hips up. You can walk your feet in a little bit for a downward facing dog. So we're lifting the forearms and the armpits up toward the ceiling. Take an inhale. Exhale, you can start to step your feet toward your hands. You can always have your hands on blocks here. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hinge and forward fold. Plant the hands, keep the chest open here. Step the left foot back, lower the knee, come onto the top of the foot. Inhale, arms reach up, and then reach up from the shoulder blades even more, wrapping that left glute down a little bit, feeling the work there. Plant the hands, slide that right foot back for your plank. Same thing, feel the shoulder blades sitting like that coaster on the coffee table. Neck is in line, chin is not jutting forward. Keep the weight in your arms as you lift the hips up, and maybe walk the feet in a little bit for your downward facing dog. Take a breath in and out. Inhale. Exhale, you can start to walk your feet forward toward your hands. Inhale, rise to stand. Good. Adding on to that a little bit, exhale, hinge back into your hips, plant the hands, step the right foot back, lower the knee, but not the toes this time. Feel that right glute strong. And now we're gonna keep the arms relatively straight. So we start to move in the shoulder blades. So now again, we have this secure hold of the scapula on the back ribs. We're holding the front ribs in, but we're allowing just for this freedom, that slide and glide. Nice. Plant your hands, step your left foot back into plank, and then without unweighting the arms, lift up into your downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg reaches up. Push into the hands, pull that right leg through. Lower your left knee. Once again, hands could be on blocks there. Lift up, low lunge. Inhale, reach up through the fingertips. Feel the length of the spine. Plant the hands, slide the left foot next to the right. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hinge and fold. Step the left foot back, lower the knee but not the toes. Come up for that 90-90, left glute is strong. Arms stay relatively straight. And we just start to slide the shoulder blades, the scapula on the back. You could get your head and your neck involved a little bit if that feels nice. Plant the hands. Slide that right foot back for plank. Tailbone lengthens down. Front ribs are held in. Lift up, downward facing dog without unweighting the arms. Left leg reaches up. Push into the hands, pull that left thigh through. Lower the right knee. Toes stay tucked here. Inhale, arms reach up. Reach up more from the sides of the waist. Plant your hands. Slide your right foot next to the left. Rise to stand. Inhale. So getting into our sequence here. Exhale, hinge and forward fold. Plant the hands. Step the right foot back. Lower the knee. Toes are tucked. Come up into your 90-90. So reach the arms up here. And then you can pull them down into a goalpost. And then we're going to flip the knuckles down toward the floor. So pull the elbows back a little bit, but you are doing that because the scapula are pulling into your body. So you have your shoulder blades here, and it's like they're pulling toward your chest without losing the ribs. So let's do that a couple more times. Feel like you're pulling them into your chest, into your chest. That's it. Now hold it there. Rotate a little bit to the left. So it's like you're just turning from the center of your sternum, just a really small amount, and back. Keep going there. Holding that right glute steady so the pelvis doesn't rotate. We're just turning the ribs on top of that stable base. Hold it to the left, and then right hand lands either on a block or on the floor for a twisted crescent. Left arm can reach up. So now feel with this right shoulder that we can hug that shoulder down away from the ear, and then lean back into that right scapula as it pulls into your body. You can release your right ear to the shoulder and just fill up that whole left side with breath. Now we're going to come into a side lunge facing the long edge of the mat. So we parallel the feet here. Let's bring your hands onto your sternum here, and this is a little reminder that we're going to keep the chest open instead of letting the shoulders collapse in. So sit back into that right hip crease, and then over, sit back into the left hip crease. So we're going back into the hips, not forward into the knees, and the hands are just there as that reminder to keep this open-heartedness. You can just maybe even draw a little bit of awareness to the shoulder blades on your back, just like little wings there. One more time. Now turn to face the back of the mat, modified side plank, left hand and left knee come down. Right leg reaches back with the foot on the floor. So same thing here, this left shoulder blade pulls down. And then as you turn your chest to face forward, feel how that left shoulder blade plugs into your back. Right arm can reach up. You can stay right here or start to circle this right arm. And just imagine that this action is coming almost from the root of the arm, your scapula on your back. And so we have this beautiful gift of mobility and adaptability, right? And we can really settle into that when we have this strong foundation from which to move. Now we're going to take this right forearm, I'm going to make a fist here, right forearm down, parallel to the long edge of the mat. Forearm side plank here. Left foot can come in front of the right foot. Left arm could be up here. If this is a new move, it could be really challenging. You could have your left fingers down on the floor in front of you. But even here, feel that right shoulder blade hug onto the back ribs. That's it. Push the floor away there. Use the glutes. One more breath. And then bring your left forearm down, forearm plank. Now, similar to what we did at the start, push the floor away and spread the shoulder blades apart on your back. Come back to neutral. Push the floor away. Come back to neutral. 2 more times. Push the floor away. Spread the scapula apart. Neutral. Last one. Come back through neutral. Lower your knees. Lower all the way. Whew, sweating. So we are going to make fist here with your arms in goalpost. You can tuck your toes here. Start to wrap your glutes down, feel them turn on. And then begin to pull the shoulder blades in a little bit towards each other, but also into your body, like towards your chest. And then from there, see if you can hover the arms. Good. You can lift your head a little bit here, but not bringing your eyes forward. Nice. Pull those shoulder blades into your body. And then we'll plant the hands, knees can stay down, lift up into plank, and pick yourself up into downward facing dog. So from here, we just get a little scrub for those scapula. So without sending your chest back to your thighs, we're just going to lift and lower. So it's like a little elevator with your scapula, just sliding them up and down on those back ribs, but feeling how they have that hold. Nice. And then you can hold them in a bit of that like pushing the floor away action, so they're in a little bit of elevation there, but your neck is relaxed. Take an inhale, bend the knees, exhale, and step. If you want to try hopping your feet forward towards your hands, and we'll come all the way up to stand. All right, whew, we are working today. Second side here, starting from the back. Inhale, arms reach up. Feel that you can reach all the way up from the scapula. Exhale, hinge back into the hips, plant your hands, step your left foot back, lower the knee but not the toes. Bring the arms up in your 90-90, and then make a fist, a goal post. And then we flip the knuckles down toward the floor here. So we're gonna pull the elbows back, but that's happening because those scapula are pulling into your body. We're not thrusting the ribs forward. Nice. Now hold it here. From the center of your chest and your sternum, rotate a little bit to the right and back. Keep going there. Nice and tall in your spine. Keep holding that left glute steady so we're not turning the pelvis, just rotating the ribs on top of it. And then we'll hold it to the right. Left hand lands either on a block or on the floor. Good. For that twisted crescent. So feel that left shoulder pull away from the ear, hug into the back as you rotate. So that shoulder doesn't drop in. As you turn, it just plugs in more. Use your breath to just fill up, to open that right side. If it feels nice, that left ear can come toward the shoulder. And then we'll bring that right hand down. We're gonna come into our side lunges again, so parallel your feet. Again, if you wanna have the hands on the sternum as that reminder to keep the chest open, that is a great option. You could also have the arms out to the side. It's more demand, but you can really start to feel how we pull those scapula onto the back ribs, keeping the chest open. One is not better or worse, just different options depending on how you're feeling today. Keep holding the ribs in and sitting back into the hips. Nice. And then you can bring the hands down. We're going to, I forgot where we're going. Turn to the front of the mat, there we go. Right hand and right knee come down for a modified side plank. So left leg reaches back, that foot is on the floor. Right shoulder hugs down and into the body. That left arm can reach up. So you are more than welcome to stay right here, or you can start to backstroke this left arm. Just think about moving from that scapula. And that arm is just following what's happening there. Nice. Now left forearm, I'm gonna make a fist, comes down to the floor parallel to the long edge of the mat. So forearm side plank, Right foot can come in front of the left. Right fingertips can stay down on the floor, or you can reach that arm up. But feel as you push the floor away there, that left shoulder blade pulls in toward your chest. You got it. Feel the strength there, feel the steadiness. Come back to your breath. One more. Right forearm lowers. We're in a forearm plank. This is our last one here. Push the floor away, spread the scapula apart. Come back to neutral. Push the floor away, back to neutral. Last two. If this feels like way too much, you can always do it with your knees down. Convenient that I forgot to tell you that on the first side. And then everyone lower your knees if they weren't already. We'll come all the way down. Now one more time here. Make a goalpost with your arms. Toes can be tucked. Lift the belly slightly, wrap the glutes down, and then feel your shoulder blades pull in a bit towards each other, but emphasize more that pulling of the scapula onto the back, toward the chest. And then you can hover the arms, lift the head, chest a little bit, without jutting the chin forward. Really think I'm pulling those scapula onto my back. Hard to talk there. Lower back down, and then make a little pillow for your forehead here. You can bend the knees and just let the legs drop from side to side. A little break here before we push ourselves back up into our downward facing dog. So legs come back down, hands plant, tuck the toes, knees are down or not, plank, and then lift up into downward dog without unweighting the arms. Okay. So we're not pushing the chest back to the thighs, but now we're just gonna slide up and down with those shoulder blades. So the arms stay straight. Just lift and lower. And then when you're ready, lower your knees. We'll come back into our quadruped. So let's keep the left hand down, reach the right arm out to the right. Push down into that left hand, turn the sternum to the right without letting that left shoulder drop in. And then thread the right arm underneath the left. You can come down onto the right side of the head. If it would feel nice for you, you can think about dragging that right hand and forearm back towards you a little bit. It's not going to move that much, but sometimes it can produce a nice little pull around that right scapula. You've got hardly any weight on your head at all. If you cannot get your head down toward the floor, you could always put a block or something underneath it. And then we'll push into the left hand, bring the right hand to the floor. Left arm reaches out to the side now. Push down into that right hand, turn your sternum a bit to the left, and then thread that left arm underneath. Left side of the head just lightly touches the floor. Could also be on a block there. We're holding the front body up just gently, and filling up your back body with breath. And if you like, you can think about lightly dragging the back of your left hand and your forearm towards you just to get that nice pull around the left scapula. And we'll push into that right hand And make your way onto your back for our Shavasana. You can have your feet on the floor or your legs straight. And there's always the option to place blocks or blankets or pillows behind your knees as well if it doesn't feel great in your low back there. Or even something behind your head if you're finding that your chin is jutting up toward the ceiling. And taking as long as you need to get situated. And then once you're there, just allow yourself to plop down. To soften, to be held by the ground beneath you. Maybe even just to tell yourself, I just did that. And I put in just the work, the intention to build and grow this strength and this support. To not only support me on the mat, but out in my life. And let your next breath be a little bit deeper. You can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe take your arms, reach them overhead. And then when you are ready, rolling over to your favorite side. And eventually lifting yourself back up to a comfortable seat. Thank you so much for showing up today. It is always such a joy to get to practice with you. I hope you are feeling a little bit more stabilized, strong in the back, open in the heart, ready to face whatever the rest of the day holds for you. If you enjoyed this class, it is so helpful to me if you like it, if you subscribe, comment down below, let me know how you feel and what you want to see more of, and I can't wait to see you again next time. Bye-bye.